Right, back live with you here on the Newsfeed PM. And thanks for staying on. Let's get back to the story, of course, that we've been focusing on in the last 2 days. Really, it's day 2 now of the national dialogue, a preparatory process towards the national dialogue. And of course, there are those who've snapped this process, have been out of it, but I'm sure they've been keeping an eye somewhat into what's been happening in those developments as far as the structure, the form, the representation, the inclusivity, the mandates that are coming out of there. Let's speak to MK Party's now. Mzwanele Manyi is a member of the party that has not been a part of this process. Mr. Manyi, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. What do you make of the thought, at least, or the notion that says it's civil society, it's members of society who've asked for this conversation? It's like, let's talk about these issues of crime, issues of corruption, issues of the economy. Others are even saying, let's even talk about the agreements of CODESA. Others are saying, let's talk about the electoral system. It's civil society that's asking for this. So why not oblige? Why not government say, okay, civil society, you want to talk about this? Let's have this. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi there, Thabo, and good afternoon to your viewership. No, for us as the MK Party, we can see right through this smoke screen. This is not about what you've just summarized so well. It's not about that. If it was about that, it would be happening at the right platform, at the right forum. In South Africa, we've got a democratically elected parliament. That's where debates that are meaningful happen. That's where public funds are spent on things, and then there's proper oversight and all of that. What we have here, we've got a parallel situation. We've got a situation where it's almost like an opportunity to loot funds. This is about a looting of the state resources. We hear even the story about the PFMA that is going to be followed and so on. But PFMA is a piece of legislation that manages processes and procedures on approved projects. It's not some sanitizing arrangement for some ad hoc initiatives that are not even reflected in the National Development Plan. Remember that South Africa has got a blueprint called a National Development Plan in terms of what should happen. Now, if you are going to just wake up and have a so-called national dialogue and claim that is civil society and all of that, and when you look at this so-called civil society, you just see a group of friends and a group of associates that think the same way. And all of that. So this is actually not even a dialogue. This is a monologue of people that think the same way, people that share the same things, people that subscribe to neoliberal policies, as it were. That's what this is really all about. And there's a bonus to this. The bonus to this, because of the kinds of reactionaries that are part of this arrangement, the bonus for them is that this weekend is a weekend we should be commemorating the Marikana victims. So what this initiative has done, it has ensured that the country forgets about the Marikana victims that even today still need to be looked after. There's some reparations that actually have not happened. People are still suffering in there. And now this project that is going to be remembered annually, and ensure that on the 16th of August, we don't remember Marikana, we remember this cruel project, as it were. Yeah. Every cent spent here, Thabo, every cent spent here is an opportunity lost for service delivery. Every cent spent here means that more medication goes to the hospital, less students' textbooks are bought, less fixing of the roads, a complete waste of time. This discussion could have happened legitimately in Parliament with people that are properly elected, not some chosen friends. This is what it is. It's just a jamboree of chosen friends and associates. This has got no credibility whatsoever. So for us as MK Party, we reject this. And in particular, we want to hold the Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, that minister does not know her role. Yeah. Her role is supposed to ensure that government does things prudently. There's no prudence in all of this. Yeah. That department is supposed to ensure that fiscus is properly spent, people are held accountable. But instead, that department has just become another spectator in this thing. They just go around rubber stamping things that should not be rubber stamping. So for us, as MK Party and as also members of the Portfolio Committee on Monitoring, or Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, we are very disturbed by this. This is a serious abdication of responsibility by government and a serious abdication of responsibility by the ministry that is supposed to be the watchdog on government. So indeed, we're disappointed.
You're disappointed. There are two areas that I want us to workshop there. The first one is that you're saying there is already a platform set. It's called the National Assembly, where all parties are involved. One of the civil society organizations yesterday said, well, if political parties believe that, then they are misguided, because if you look at the voting numbers have dropped. So people are not participating in elections. Just because you're elected there doesn't mean that you're representing the views of the entire society. There are people who have lost confidence in that whole political system and are not participating in elections at all. And so those people need to be heard through other means or other platforms.
Not necessarily. I think that analysis is correct in terms of, in fact, I think there are more people in South Africa that are not participating in the voting system than those that are in the voting system. And the reason for that is because people have been voting with all kinds of false promises of their lives being changed, but nothing has changed. So people are beginning not to see the value of participating in democratic processes. This is the reason why, in fact, if we had proper thinking people in that leadership, would have people that are going to say, in Parliament, they're going to say, we are here representing 16 or under 20 million people. What does that mean? What are we missing? And then Parliament will then have public participation processes that are led by Parliament. Then there's going to be all kinds of proper processes and ensure that decisions that are taken in that approved forum of Parliament are decisions that can be implemented within the prescripts of Parliament. What we have here is a parallel process. There is no direct engagement. There is no direct line of sight in terms of what happens here and what happens in Parliament. There's nothing that's going to come out of this that's going to compel anything in Parliament or anything anywhere. This is just a nice to have discussion to deflect the attention of people of South Africa from the real challenges that are facing this country. Who in South Africa does not know the problems of South Africa? Who in South Africa does not know that we've got the highest employment ever? Who in South Africa does not know that the inequality that we have under the ANC leadership is worse than the inequality during apartheid? Who in South Africa does not know that we have a land problem in South Africa where a small percentage of people own all the land? I can go on and on. Problems of South Africans are known. There is no reason to be having this so-called dialogue. What is required is action. What is required is delivery in terms of the promises that were made. That's all that is required. There's no reason. I mean, what is new? Nothing new is going to come out of this. In fact, this thing is doomed to fail because even as you start, Thabo, you don't know what are the deliverables of this. We don't know what are the key performance indicators that we're going to have for this. And the reason for that is purely because this is just a money-spending machinery. This is another way in which the ANC can find money into its coffers so that they can face the 2026 local government elections.
I want to talk about that money question. I mean, prudence. The president saying, well, they gave me a figure of 780 million rands for this thing. I said, there is no way we're going to spend that much of taxpayers' money. There's a more cost-effective way of doing this, using schools, using churches, where we don't have to pay for big venues and hotels and so on and so forth. Don't you think it would have been your patriotic duty as well to be at least watchdogs, to be in the process so that you watch that those rands and cents are really being spent in a prudent way?
No, that is a very superficial way of looking at costs. It's a very, in fact, insulting approach to deal with this discussion. It undermines the intelligence of people of South Africa. The real costs, first and foremost, are the government people that are there. You must remember that everyone that is there is paid full salary. All the bodyguards that are there, everything, all the people that are there are not there for free. They are getting paid. The bill for just human resource that are just floating around there is just astronomical. And all of this actually is already paid for in Parliament, because all this discussion could have happened in Parliament. I mean, what is the excitement about UNISA being free when Parliament is free? What's excitement about anything? What is it? What is this one thing that that national dialogue provides, so-called free whatever, that is not currently free in Parliament? Free as in it's already paid for by the taxpayer, as it were, to provide platform and an opportunity for not only robust engagement, but structured and within prescripts and implementable within the law. As I said, what is going to come out of this jamboree that they've had cannot compel anybody to do anything. It's a complete waste of time. It's almost like the Zondo Commission thing, which is not legally binding. There are no binding decisions that can be taken out of that jamboree that has been put together. So it's a complete waste of time. In fact, in terms of PFMA, it actually is a classical definition of unauthorized expenditure. PFMA defines unauthorized expenditure as expenditure on items which have not been budgeted for. The National Development Plan knows nothing about what this thing is doing here. There are no government processes that foresaw this,
Right.
as it were. So you are spending money on things that you did not table on the annual performance plans. There are no ways to regulate this. It's just a complete sham, and it's actually a violation of the PFMA. And for us as MK Party, we'll follow this up because it is an irregular expenditure. It is unauthorized expenditure.
Mzwanele Manyi, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on, Member of Parliament for the Umkhonto weSizwe Party. There, Mzwanele Manyi saying this is an unauthorized and wasteful expenditure. Parliament could have continued with these dialogues as well as engagements nationwide through that particular platform.